to Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, a series of digital-first conversations that we do here as part of the Leaders of Tomorrow initiative to empower you, the entrepreneur. I'm Sananda Jayasseelan. On the show tonight, we're bringing you a conversation that we did on our digital masterclass talking about the hospitality, travel, and tourism space and some of the big trends and some of the big events which are really impacting the way things are happening in the space, including, of course, the ripple effect here in India out of the Ukraine-Russia crisis. Also, the pandemic bringing about several trends like higher digitization, like an increased focus on the environment and increased customization. All of that being decoded on this masterclass. Our guests included Vishal Kamath, CEO of Kamath Hotels, Isha Goel, CEO of SDIC Travel Group, Alan Machado, CEO, Niramya Wellness Retreats. To come back to what you were saying, Ishan's open to all three of you, but you were talking about social media and digital, and social media influencers are becoming such a crucial part, especially of industries which rely so much on visually, beautiful images and beautiful videos and just showing that entire experience. That is a trend that you would like, from your experience and open to all three of you, to really help our audience and our entrepreneurs understand how social media influencers have become such an integral part of the travel and tourism space. And what's your view really on how perhaps maybe that space is going to change?
Well, in my view, I feel influencers, rather than that space changing, that space is changing travel and hospitality. Yeah. And I think it's changed. Perhaps Alan and Vishal would be better placed to answer the hoteliers' perspectives. But I think the very fact that now gallery images are not enough, and you need to have real client images, and you need to have Instagram presence, and you need to have real people talk about their experiences in your properties, is what is the biggest shift in hospitality and tourism. It's no longer about what the service provider has to say. It's about what the customers have to say, whether it is a tour package or it is a hotel experience or it is a wellness retreat. It's about the influencers, or it's about the travelers who influence those decisions and help you decide. So I think they play a key role and sit at the center of how our businesses grow and evolve on the services side.
Absolutely. Alan, did you want to add something to that?
I completely agree with Isha over here. The social media and the digital strategy for any company today is paramount. You need to have it on the top of your list of things to do to engage with the customer and to drive them back into your businesses. I was just reading a survey, the McKinsey Global Survey. Many travel companies have accelerated the digitization of their customer and supply chain interactions. And not just externally, but internally as well. And with the likelihood of labor shortage that is going to happen, digital transformation might be even the most crucial, thing to adapt for companies.
I'm going to take one more question, and then there is a poll that is going to come up for all of you who've logged in. You will see that on your screen right after this question. And Vishal, I'm assuming this question, I could take this question to you. This one is saying, because of the trend you were speaking about as far as the war is concerned, impact on inflation and then impact on hospitality, prices, food, etc. Everything is going to go up because of spike in oil. And this one is coming to us from Rashmi Saxena.
So Rashmi ji, this is not something only for the hospitality industry to worry about. It is for the globe. And we've got to be as cost effective as we can be, because the biggest challenge is that just because prices or petrol and other things increase, it doesn't mean that we as hoteliers can increase our menu prices or room prices so easily, because at the end of the day, like in any other business, it's a matter of elasticity of demand and supply. And if you become too costly, your demand will move to other sectors or other segments. So we've got to be able to play that very carefully. Definitely is going to be a challenge. Luckily, till now, the government has not raised the fuel prices. So we still have a somewhat happy time till now. But when they start increasing, and which may happen anytime soon, it is going to be something for us to look at a very dynamic way in any business, whether it's hospitality or manufacturing or services. It doesn't matter which is your sector, we are all going to be affected by it.
Yeah.
And I think certain steps which are there, like example, as a personal citizen, you can move towards EV. We at the Orchid Hotel have already started moving towards electric vehicles. We already had our first consignment of electric vehicles come in, and they have been a big hit because the customer sees that, oh, not only are you saying you are an eco-friendly hospitality chain, but we see you are moving and retiring the old cars.
Okay. The first poll question that I have for each of you who's logged in, and you will see this popping up on your screen. Will the travel and hospitality sector reboot effectively from the multiple lockdowns that we've had in the country? It's a yes or no question, especially given that we are likely looking at a fourth wave starting June, which could peak in August or so of this year, despite the fact that we've moved to an endemic.
I hope everyone says yes.
Absolutely. And we've started this masterclass on a very positive note. So I'm confident that everyone is feeling upbeat about the outlook for this space. Isha, this next question is coming to you saying, will there be an impact for small travel agents who are looking at holiday packages, etc., overseas because of any impact or uncertainty on SWIFT payments?
Well, I think there are a lot of concerns right now on what may or may not happen with respect to not just SWIFT payments, but also in terms of the markets that were expected to be priority markets or priority package, hot selling packages for this summer, for example, Eastern Europe, which was supposed to be or which was branded as the golden sector for the summer after everything opens, because it was the hot new destination. So yes, there are concerns on both transaction, how transactions would play out. But I think I do believe that Indian travelers are very persistent. So as are our travel industry players and our travel agents. So I do believe that we will find ways around any constraints on whether it's SWIFT, or I'm sure we'll find ways around that. And today, with more and more countries around the world being open to various forms of digital payments, I think there will be solutions out there that will come up, and we'll have to wait and watch and see how that plays out.
And you were right, 100% of everyone who's logged in today have said yes. So the outlook definitely is optimistic. This next question is coming open to everyone, and perhaps Alan, you want to take this first. This next question coming to us from Gayatri Rao saying, certain pockets of India look at tourists coming from certain segments across the globe. Should we be looking at newer countries? Should we be making active efforts to increase our feasibility? But if you can talk about, tapping newer markets, basically, that's what I think Gayatri is trying to get at. What would you like to tell her? Because Goa, for instance, you look at a lot of tourists coming from Russia with some uncertainty from the US markets, Europe, etc. Should we be looking at attracting people from newer markets and countries?
Absolutely. In fact, what has happened in the last 2 years, Sunanda and Gayatri, is that, with the complete absence of inbound tourism, most of the companies have adapted to focusing more on domestic segments and, increasing their pie and their share of business from the domestic market. Let me give you the example of Niramya. Niramya as a brand attracted a very large share of inbound travel, from markets like the UK, the US, Eastern Europe, the Middle East. All of this ended one fine day when there were lockdowns and everything shut down. We had to focus on the resurgence of our strategies in the domestic segment. But now with the reopening of borders, it is time for us to reconnect with our feeder markets that drove our inbound business, But at the same time, we need to be very pragmatic and we need to be extremely smart about other avenues and other channels and feeder markets that we need to develop. There is a lot of business that could come in from the inbound markets. They might not come in from your traditional feeder markets, but India is a place where everyone is attracted when it comes to tourism, right?
Sure.
It is an opportunity for us to explore new markets, but we need to be very strategically clear that you cannot ignore any segment or channel of business today.
It's time for a quick commercial break. On that note, we're back in just a moment. Welcome back with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. Vishal, maybe I can give you this next question because you and I were talking about, swimming pools continuing to be closed at a lot of, because of post-pandemic, concerns. So as a trend that you perhaps want to call out for our entrepreneurs, this question is coming to us from Pratibha Ravi. She says, what's the new normal looking like? Swimming pools being closed, social distancing, takeaway cutlery, etc. And then what is going to be the increased cost that we need to factor in?
So, Pratibha, the new normal now is going back to the old normal. Okay, people are fed up of social distancing. People are fed up of their entire restrictions. You now don't even find people forget even using sanitizer. Even the bottles have disappeared at certain places. And especially, I can tell you that many people have removed even the signs of wear a mask, because why do you come to a hotel? You come to a resort or a hotel or a travel destination to forget all your troubles at home. You've come here to relax. So you don't want to again be reminded of all the kind of things. And now this has got ingrained into every child. You don't need to tell anybody the social distancing norms or the wear a mask. It's basically now part of your habit. The new normal is going to be to act normal again, which is what people are doing, and which is why we find again things resurging the way they are. When the first wave hit, that time a lot of the restrictions applied on swimming pools in basically clubs, hotels, resorts, but those with private pools at their homes, they didn't have restrictions. And that's where you found alternative business growing, where resort destinations were replaced by bungalow destinations.
This next one is a very important question coming to us from Viral Malia. Isha, you and I were talking about ESG, environmental, social, and governance, and how that's going to continue playing an impact. So I would love for the three of you to really respond in this. Viral's question is, how will travel, and I want to expand it to say travel and hospitality, respond to the climate challenges of this post-pandemic era and workplace activism, and just more awareness now on the part of people as far as the impact on the environment? How will travel and hospitality, and how is travel and hospitality responding? We've discussed a few of it, but anything that you'd want to add to it? First to Isha.
So I actually feel very strongly about ESG, which is why I brought it up with you earlier. I think it's very, very important. Sustainability, being environmentally conscious, I think it's so important today more than ever in tourism and hospitality. And we see that also when we look at travel trends. And it really comes again from customers and social media and influencers, and how people self-select. So today's customer is choosing a sustainable service provider, or choosing someone who is providing a service or providing a property that is more environmentally conscious than someone who's not. But even beyond that, when you talk about ESG and social and governance, I think increasingly for our business, particularly when we're talking about SMEs, governance and corporate governance has become more important today than it ever has before.
Sure. Vishal?
So, being Asia's pioneering environmentally sensitive five-star eco-hotel, which my father started in '97, when the world needed, I can't say the word, but I can definitely say India definitely needed to be educated as to what is being environmentally friendly. People didn't know. People would think eco-hotel यानी eco hotel, वो budget में आएगा, and they come and they say, oh my god, ये तो 5 star है, मैं तो that kind of
Sure.
mindset change was very important in terms of appreciating your environment and saving it. And we benefited a lot thanks to that philosophy of my father's, which is a family philosophy, and that has been inculcated by all our various more than 4,000 employees in all our hotels. Isha is absolutely right that the customer is willing to recognize that and appreciate it. I just gave the example of the eco cars that we've done with all EV cars now systematically coming in and replacing our fossil fuel cars. Apart from saving money, it goes with our ethos. Now the cars which we changed didn't need to be changed, but it's part of our ethos, and we wanted that we want to go green, we want to go zero fuel, or rather fast fossil fuel as fast as we can, and in that step we took it, and the customer recognizing it.
Sure. Alan?
Sunanda, I think it is very important to be sustainable. It has to be part of your business ethos in today's day and age. Not just the businesses, but the government is giving a lot of aid to businesses that are setting themselves up to be sustainable, to be eco-friendly. A lot of business partnerships are today, based, on partnering with other businesses that are in the sustainable and the eco-friendly space. Even the traveler today, and we have seen this shift happen during the pandemic, was people actually asking, what do you do for sustainability? What do you do for CSR activities? And they're basing their calls primarily on what we do for the environment.
I'm going to take a second poll question in just a moment after this question. And Isha, this question is to you primarily, but of course it's open to the others as well, because you were talking about digital. So this question is coming to us from Nikki Puvaya. She says, Isha was talking about digital and digital transformation. We're a traditional, small, family-run and owned travel agency. How do we train our employees to start thinking digital first? How do we transform?
Well, it's an interesting question. And I think at some level, perhaps Alan being the exception, both Vishal and I can relate to the first part of her statement that we are a traditionally family-run small agency. That's pretty much what I've grown up with. So I completely understand where you're coming from. And I think the challenge is more to do with mindset, not to do with technology. Today, particularly, if anything, the pandemic has really helped with adoption of technology. We've seen in our organization, I said earlier that we're celebrating 50 years. We have people in our team who've been with us. This was their first job 30 years ago, right? And we've seen people adapt to technology because there was simply no other choice. So I think it's more to do with mindset. If you're able to address the mindset, everyone's on social media today. Everyone uses WhatsApp. Everyone uses either a TikTok or a Instagram or something or the other. So I think the ability to switch to a digital platform is there inherently in all of us. It's simply about shifting the mindset and showing people the value of switching to digital, or it doesn't have to be a switch. And perhaps that's sometimes the block. It's not always about an either or. It's about including it or making it a part of what you're doing in providing services to your customers. And if you're able to effectively do that and demonstrate value or efficiency, I think you've won the battle.
Vishal, do you also want to add to that?
I think Isha hit it the nail on the head, and I think that comes from her experience, which she's seen, that you have to get a buy-in from your team members. If you believe in it, you will do it. We don't tell our staff ki light band karo aur paisa bachao. We tell them that when you're doing this, and we don't tell them that do it at our hotel. We say do it at your home, because you cannot behave differently at your workplace and differently at home. What is the dilution of your culture is when new people come in, and the ones who are already there do not carry on that ethos and imbibe the new junior or the colleague and say, you know what, this is what we do here. Oh, okay. And then that becomes a habit, a practice, and then that becomes part of your way of working.
Okay. Our second poll question for all of you who've logged in for today's masterclass is coming up on your screen as I speak. Has your budget for vacations decreased since the start of the pandemic? If you're looking into the mid to short term, in the next 2 to 4 years, what are the couple of things that you think are going to change? We've discussed a few trends here on the Leaders of Tomorrow masterclass, but if you can talk about, personally, what you're perhaps excited about that you're working on, or from an industry point of view, something that's definitely changing that you want to discuss today. Alan, I'll come to you first. What would you want our entrepreneurs to know?
The hospitality industries and all the big brands, including us, still had very, very clear contingency plans and huge thick manuals for every imaginable crisis, right? Whether it was natural calamities like the earthquakes, floods, typhoons, hurricanes, or man-made catastrophic events like, the wars, terrorist attacks, civil unrest, or recession. This was obviously due to the events in the history in the past 25 to 30 years, and that prepared us for it. And then comes COVID-19 and the pandemic and knocks us all out, and every single person is like, wait, what? And this is due to the fact that none of us expected this to happen, because there was no pandemic event in history over the last 100 years. And every business was grossly underprepared. We need to be very, very sure. We need to be, like I said earlier, we need to be pragmatic. We cannot be overtly flamboyant or oversighted in the next few years when it concerns our business and the health of our businesses. We need to make good strategic decisions. We need to develop good strategic partnerships in the way forward. We have to, obviously, a lot of businesses have to recover from the business losses that they have sustained in the last 2 years.
The response to our second poll question about budgets and how they have perhaps changed during the pandemic coming in, 64% have said yes, their budgets have increased post the pandemic. 36% though saying no, perhaps undecided. But I'm sure this group is waiting to see that conversion of that 36% as well.
Come spend money with us.
Sunanda, in this I'd like to say that the 64 who have responded, okay, I have doubts on their polling, and there's a reason I say this is because these are one of those questions where you always want to answer as you feel but not as you do. When the time comes, they will want to go to lovely destinations. When the time
reality could be different.
Who are they earning for? They're earning for themselves, they're earning for their children, they're earning for their family, and when the time comes, you want to give your family the best.
The eternal optimist in Vishal has spoken, and let's definitely hope that's going to come true. Isha, how about you? Just going back to our question in terms of what one can look forward to in this space in the mid to short term.
I think the two fundamental changes that I believe will happen or are happening already. I think on the service provider side, we'll see greater collaboration, and we're seeing a sentiment of that across the board. Greater collaboration, greater cooperation, both amongst peers within the industry, but also whether it is with our employees, with our vendors, with our partners and customers. And I think the pandemic has definitely brought that change about in mindset and sentiment. And I think on the customer side, while I totally understand what Vishal is saying on the whole feeling versus intent, I think there will be a trend towards indulgence. Whatever the budget may be and whatever the ability and constraints may be, the trend is definitely about indulgence. Everyone will be a lot more liberal. So for me, the two key words would be collaboration and indulgence.
Here's wishing that all of our aspirations and hopes travel-wise for 2022 comes true. On that note, thank you so much for being such a great panel, and thank you for this interaction that we've had. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Thank you, Sunanda. Thanks, Vishal and
Sunanda.
Anil. It's been really fun.
Completely out of time then on this two-part special that we did as far as the hospitality and the travel space is concerned. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any feedback, that number on your screen, just drop us a WhatsApp text and we'll get in touch with you. We love hearing from our audience. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.